Hi there, YouTube. This is Jessica G. Quinto. I am the author of the debut novel Stand Up, Fight Back, which is a young adult murder mystery with supernatural elements. This is going to be a series talk about my vampire series that I talked about, I believe it was back in October or November, one of those times. This was actually something that I had to deal with a lot when I was starting to kind of think about it, because it is going to come after my Reaper series is done. But I wasn't really enthused about doing the idea again. And I was trying to figure out why, because it was right up my alley. It was regular romance with a bunch of standalones, and I would have been fine with that normally. But there was just something about it that I wasn't all too enthused about. And I realized what it was, which is my reading tastes as far as romance have changed a lot since I first started doing writing and reading. And I found that I more enjoy reading gay and lesbian romances instead of the regular heterosexual ones. I have a decent selection of romances in the heterosexual variety, but I've started looking for more romances in the gay and lesbian genres. And I thought about it. I actually plotted out the characters that I have couples for at this time, and about 95% of them were heterosexual relationships, and I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for me anymore. It might have worked for me about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or what have you, but now I found a whole lot of literature that I really enjoy. I actually enjoy it more than the stuff that I read when I was younger. And don't get me wrong, I love the stories behind me. I love, like, Lindsay Sands and Sherilyn Kenyon's Dark Hunter series. I love all of them. But the ones that I'm finding now, I'm loving more for the type of struggles that they deal with. And that's the kind of story that I would want to write. So that is what I've done. Basically, what I did was I talked to a good writer friend of mine. And they helped me to actually redo all the couples. There is one that did stay the same. So it's like, okay, I got one straight relationship, the rest of them are either gay or lesbian or what have you. I haven't decided yet for a lot of them, but I got at least the bare bones. So what I did was I took all the couples. We then decided, like, okay, which one do we want to change to male or female or what have you, and we just basically went back and forth trying to decide. That changes how I kind of view the characters, because now I have to do a lot of page one rewrites of their actual character arcs. And I'm finding that I'm actually enjoying them a lot more, especially with this first one, which is of the character Gustav, with, instead of his lover being Victoria, it's now a man named Abel. And it actually works better with his overall back history that his name is Abel and that he comes from a cult. So it actually works out a whole lot better. And normally I don't do like multiple projects at the same time because my brain has trouble kind of focusing on one and I get super obsessed with it. But because I'm doing book 2 of the Reaper series, I needed to do something else with the time when I'm not working on that so I don't get burned out. So I think it was the day before yesterday, I started actually drafting the first book of the vampire series, which is Gustav and Abel. And so far I'm enjoying it. And I'm also trying something that I saw recently on both Tumblr and on YouTube, which is like the Comic Sans challenge, which is to write something in Comic Sans and see how you do better. And I never understood the hate behind Comic Sans as a font. I know it looks kind of juvenile, but that's why it's called Comic Sans. It's basically like a comic book. And I've actually found myself kind of liking it. It kind of reminds me of when I was writing when I first started, which is way back yonder, like 2002 era. And anytime I would start a new document, I'd look for the right font to give me the right kind of inspiration. And Comic Sans was always the one that I really liked because it was fun, it was it was larger than, like, Times New Roman. So I actually kind of like it. Yeah, it looks really juvenile, but at this point I don't care, because I'm just drafting the first draft. Stand Up Breakout is actually written in Times New Roman, like what normal novels are. So I'm trying to see which one I'm more productive with. I feel like I'm just more productive with Stand Up Breakout because of the fact that it's the one that I'm currently focusing on publishing, kind of thing. But so far, I am enjoying what I'm writing. I'm actually probably going to spend the majority of this weekend writing stuff for Gustav and Abel. And I'm thoroughly enjoying what I've written so far because now I'm trying to integrate all these different families into having cameos into each other's stories. And I'm hoping that this doesn't turn into a big steaming pile. But I'm really hoping that I enjoy this. I am planning on doing a meet the cast for this one. Whether I do that later when I've actually finished the first draft to see how many people are actually involved in this one. Because so far I have 4 of the main cast of characters from the entire family tree. Because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 different families with subfamilies in them. And right now I've introduced 4 of those characters from the different family trees. So, believe me, I actually had to have all the family trees laid out on my floor in pieces of paper so that I could actually figure out where everyone sat. Because it was a little disconcerting, because I have multiple generations of characters. And I'm also dealing with the fact that there's a lot of difference when it comes to the lore of vampires. I'm listening to the audiobook called Cronin's Key, which is by, I think it's N.R. Walker. It's so far a really interesting book because the lore that they have for vampires is very in-depth. And normally I'm not the biggest fan of info dumps, but this is crafted in such a way that it's in the dialogue and it's not as info dumpy as like some books I've read. So I'm actually enjoying it because instead of just telling us like an exposition what this information is, it's telling us in dialogue with a conversation with someone who has no idea what that history is. So I'm actually enjoying it. And there is a lot of info that they're adding in this first book, because I just recently saw that there was a 4th book, but I don't think it follows Cronin and Alec. Because if you haven't realized it now, that it's a male-on-male romance, but it's paranormal, so I thoroughly enjoy it. So far, it's the first paranormal male-on-male romance that I found, but I am enjoying it. The one thing that's kind of keeping me from listening to it, like I marathoned Agents Irish and Whiskey and basically all of Annabeth Albert's books, is the narrator. Oh my god, I just can't. He's got one of these, like, really raspy, breathy voices that just makes him sound like an old man. And I'm like, oh, no, I can't. I just physically cannot. But that's kind of giving me some ideas for this and, like, what lore that I would want to introduce. Because, of course, I've had basically the same lore in most of my vampire fiction. And it's interesting to see someone else's rendition of it. And of course I have Lindsay Sands and Sherilyn Kenyon's books to kind of draw from and take kind of what they've done, see what I like, and add it into my mythos. So I've already got that basically laid out. I might do a video of describing what exactly the powers are as far as the vampires. I might actually do that for the Reapers as well, because one of the critiques that I got with my first draft of Stand Up Fight Back was, I don't know what the abilities are. So I might do an entire video where I describe what the actual abilities of a Reaper are. So it might be fun. This is my series talk. I apologize for how long it's taken me to actually do another series talk, because I've just been working hard on my actual series. I'll probably do a series talk of the Reaper series. That way y'all can keep updated. Again, Stand Up Fight Back is available for order on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and on Kindle Unlimited. And you can pick up your copy today. I'll leave a link in the description below. And I will see you all in the next video. Keeping fabulous. Bye-bye!